The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Start it off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And a good Monday morning to you, one and all. Here it is, Monday, July number 17 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. Yeah, that's the call-in number. It is what it is today. Got some Obamacare stuff. I got some the weekend was pretty quiet, was it not? Well, as far as weekends go in the political realm, political spectrum. But I got to admit something. I was a little under the weather this weekend. And so I did not pay any attention to what was going on. I actually slept a lot. Which is fine. Sometimes the body just tells you that it needs to do something like, shut down. Just rest and relax for whatever reason. It happens. I may be, I'm not Superman, but I may be superhuman, but I am not Superman. And even superhumans have to take their body just says, well, enough's enough of this crap. So let's get sick, shut down, and heal ourselves. And that's fine. I hate being sick, though. I hate not always feeling 100% optimal. If this is what it's like as you get to be geriatric age, then I'm not sure I'm going to like it. And the reason why I bring up geriatric age is we have wonderful McCain. How many geriatrics do we have in the Senate? Is anybody count? I haven't counted the everyone who's over the age of, say, 70 in the Senate. I know. Donald is 70, 71 now, 71. Yeah, so's Clinton. Bill's older than that, but Clinton is 70 or 71. Hillary. I don't know how many geriatrics we have in the Senate right now. We have quite a few. McConnell and McCain are just two of them. I know Pelosi is another one. She's also a septuagenarian, right? 70-ish. I think Maxine Waters is in her 70s. Dianne Feinstein is, if she isn't in her 70s, she's damn close. There's a whole bunch of them. Even people that you wouldn't normally think that might be over 65 or 70, they are. On both sides of the political aisle. But there's more, I think there's more geriatrics on the Democrat side than on the Republican side at the moment. Doesn't mean that the Republicans can't or don't at least think or act geriatric. No, those of it, we're stuck in the middle here. We've got the millennials that are coming up, and the leading edge of the millennials, well, they're now 35, 36. I mean, I know I've mentioned this before, but do you people realize that? The leading edge millennials are now mid-30s. They are taking over. Baby boomers are beginning to retire. They've hit 65. They're over 65, leading edge of the baby boomers. And those of us who are completely sane, called Generation X, well, we're the smallest generation, but we're now middle-aged. We're 40 to 55, somewhere around there now. So it's not as if we have. How should I put this? We are stuck in the middle. Those of us who have some sort of sanity, we're stuck between, the geriatrics are basically the greatest generation, the Depression era babies. Well, they're getting older and they're dying off. That's my parents' group. The greatest generation. No, my parents are not baby boomers. They were pre-baby boomers. They were at the end of the Depression era babies. Because you go from Depression era to baby boomers. So we have a lot of, and that 75, 76. That's my mother. So now we have the baby boomers who are approaching 70, and these people have just lost their minds. Baby boomers are crazy. And they've instilled that craziness on their children and grandchildren known as millennials. And now millennials are not crazy. They're just arrogant, expectant, spoiled brats that are now heading for middle age. They're now in their 30s. And they're the ones that you see on newscasts. Sure, you'll still see some of the people that are, that are older in their 40s plus. But if you look at a lot of your local stuff, if you look at a lot of the reporters, if you look at and notice a lot of these specialty like online broadcasters, like Cheddar and ESPN and all these others, they're full, these reporters and people that supposedly are specialty knowledge people in finance and everything else. If you notice, they're millennials. They're 35 or younger. And so when they start talking about some of the stuff that they want to do, or some of the news items, you start to see their twist on things. You start to hear it. Now, I'm not denying that some of them actually know what they're talking about. Some of them do. They actually know their job, and they actually do know what they're talking about. The vast majority of them, however, do not. That's kind of interesting. You got all these. Well, that's no different from anybody else, I suppose. And what do I mean by that? Well, we have Joe Scarborough, who said that he's leaving the Republican Party. Yeah, everybody knows that. But it was a surprise and a shock. Now, why was it a surprise and a shock? because the vast majority of us Republicans and conservatives didn't realize that Joe Scarborough was still in the Republican Party. We thought he'd already left. So it was a shock for us to hear that he was saying, well, I'm going to leave the Republican Party now. Wow. Joe, we thought you left long ago. So it's a shock. But I love it when these people tell us this stuff. Well, I'm leaving the Republican Party. Do you think it's like, oh, stab me in the heart, Joe. Oh, that hurts. Oh, please don't go. Come back. We're sorry. What is all the response that I've seen out of that is either, damn, we thought you'd already left, or get the hell out. Don't let the door hit you. Or are we supposed to care? It's one of those three things. I love how these people, when somebody says something like that, when they're in a position that Joe Scarborough is in, and they say something like that, it just goes to show how they really honestly believe that people honestly, really, really care what they have to say and think. The problem is that most of the time we don't. We don't care. In fact, we don't even listen. We've stopped listening to people like him. Did he think that was going to boost his show's ratings that are sinking, faster than quicksand? That's probably it. He thought, well, he's going to get people who says, well, now he's not a Republican, so we can watch him now. I mean, it's the most asinine thing that I've seen yet come out of CNN. Like, we're CNN of all places. We're supposed to care what these people think. Their ratings. I mean, their Cartoon Network has got programs that get better ratings than CNN. That's no joke. That may be funny, but it's no joke. I mean, this is it's such. CNN is such a. I have no idea how they're still on the air. They're getting money from. How are they paying their on-air talent? How are they paying all their production staff? In their well, they don't have much of a research staff, so that's not a big budget there. But they still got to have money coming in to pay for what little research staff they have. Do they not? I mean, it's just amazing. But even on places like CNN, you're starting to see more and more millennials. I know you're probably thinking, well, when the hell did millennials, grow up age-wise? Chronologically, when did they grow up? Well, obviously it was some time ago, because now the leading edge is mid-30s. And they're still, the bulk of them are still in their 20s, but can you imagine they're bringing that stuff in their 20s into their 30s? And I've said this time and time again, they haven't grown. Many of them have not grown up. And you can listen and hear it in the way they talk, and the ideas that they form together in their speech pattern. I've talked to millennials that are 30 to 35, and I got to tell you, I'm scared to death. I really am, because they sound exactly like somebody who's still in their early 20s in college. They have not grown up. The speech pattern. It's like I call Nancy Pelosi a Valley Girl. Now just think of an entire generation that did not grow up. Valley Girls of the 80s, right? Now think of that entire. Now they've all grown up, all the Valley Girls. Like, oh my God. Well, they don't talk like that anymore. Why? Because they grew up. Now, if you translate that same type of language cadence and speech pattern and you bring it forward into 2017 and tag the generation known as millennials, well, millennials in their 30s still sound exactly like that. Now, take whatever speech pattern and cadence that the 20-somethings and teens had back in the 80s with the Valley Girl era, but by the time they got into their 30s, they started becoming parents and they grew up. Unfortunately, these kids today did not change. They're not growing up. And you're starting to see it show up on news media. An important, your financial advisor could be 35 years old. Think about this for a second. Are you really willing, do you want to go in to somebody who's 35 years old, who's supposed to know what he's doing, and he asks you questions like this, and he's always talking to you like this? That kind of speech pattern drives me insane. There's not a question there, is there? No, there's not. But it shows their lack of maturity. But he's 35. And it's not just males, it's also females. They're now starting to run the world, folks. Question is it a world that you're going to want to live in? You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
855-3226. Welcome back. Yes, we are getting right into it right here, right now, here on the Rod Eccles Show. We've got this John McCain thing that is going on with McConnell. I guess, well, before I get into that, let's take a quick call here. Let's see who we got. 731, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got this morning?
Hey, long time no talk, huh?
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to throw a few things out there. I went to D.C. last week and was actually privy to going to a Seth Rich vigil and was able to visit the DNC, which was quite interesting to say the least. Got stuck at the airport, and because I flew in that morning, I was going home that evening, and lo and behold, all the flights had been grounded. I mean, from all the airports in D.C., and didn't know what was going on, but kind of sketchy, I think. Didn't hear much on the news. I had to go to the Trump Hotel and spend $1,000 to stay one night without a hairbrush or anything.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah, that was fun, yeah. And but I will say this: I heard you talking about the millennials. I met, several millennials at that vigil, and I will say this about the millennials. I do think that they have more expectations about law and order than we realize. Even myself, I was pretty impressed. Now, granted, there's not many awake because they're all, trying to get through life and get to their job and so forth, and I understand that. But I do think that they will be a force to be reckoned with when they do figure out some of the stunts and some of the crimes with, like, John McCain, for example. I've thought about this many times. As you know, I'm a retired baby boomer. And, but, you were talking about all of the people over 70, the geriatric ones. You have, like you said, John McCain, Maxine Waters, Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Grassley, Mitch McConnell. It just goes on and on. I think they need a break. Like that little guy Terrence says, they need to go to bed. But and I did I was doing kind of a podcast with a couple of people when I was in D.C., and this is what I say. I say and this is you might think this is far out there, Rod, but I think the only way we really drain the swamp is to take the NSA, the CIA, and maybe even the FBI and just dismantle them, the entire cabal, just dismantle them and bleach bit the files, whatever they want to do, and then bring everybody back and do lie detector tests and vet them. And the ones who really want to work, we hire them, because the crime seems to be so embedded so deeply. And we have got the CIA, I don't know about you, but for me, I think, how many attacks have they actually prevented on our soil? Many we probably don't know about, but it seems to me that you have people taking pressure cookers and dropping them off on streets. I mean, look at the Boston bombers. I mean, so, what do we have to lose? I mean, I don't see any other way that Trump gets to be able to drain the swamp without doing away with the NSA. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like you said, they're so blackmailed. Everybody's so compromised. So if everybody gets a clean slate, And, you know, the NSA, I think they're more interested in what me and you are doing than they are some of the real terrorists. Do you believe that to be true?
You know, I'm going to address that on the other side of the break. I got to run and take a break, but I will get to that. You pose a very interesting question and hypothesis, and I want to cover that.
Okay. Okay. I will be in touch, but yeah, I look forward to hearing what your take on that is, because I don't see any other way around it to me, but we'll see.
Well, I may have something that interests people on this one, so we'll get to that as soon as we get back. Thanks for your call, darling. Bye-bye.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
The 603-835-3226. That is the call-in line number. Now to tackle what the last caller was talking about. There's something to be said that sometimes it's hard to drain something without completely dismantling it. However, in this particular case, it's not because these governmental departments are too big, because there is no such thing. No such thing as too big to fail. Now, obviously, the bigger you are, the more pain there is likely to be felt by a vast majority of people at that particular department or company's failure. But nobody's too big to fail. And if you are too big, even the government is not too big to fail. You just end up forming a new government. Now, it may mean a lot of pain in the meantime. Just take a look at Venezuela. Would we have that sort of, if our government were to collapse today, would we have that sort of anarchy that's in Venezuela? I really don't think so. I don't. I think you'd have two very strong and vocal factions. One that is all about absolute libertarian beliefs and liberty, and one that's all about communistic, socialistic, big government style. But I think the socialists would lose out because it would be because of big government that the government collapses and fails in the first place. And I think you'd have a lot of people who would side with, the majority of people would side with those who were for a smaller, more efficient government. And I think a vast majority of our military would do the same thing. They're out there to defend freedom, not government. So when it comes to dismantling a government agency, you have to take a look at it and see what their purpose and their job is. Now, in the case of the CIA, TSA, things like that, I think what we have is we have too many ultra-secret agencies or departments, or too many ultra-secret divisions within certain departments. I don't understand the FBI has its own little secret department, and this is where a lot of these reports came about, where 17 intel security agencies said that Trump was in cahoots and collusion with. No, first of all, they didn't say it, but second of all, somebody should have said 17. Why do we have 17? Well, because they all do something a little bit differently. And there was reasoning behind that. The reasoning is, well, if you have one agency that does everything, that agency can get too powerful. But if you split up these sort of secretive duties, then that means one agency can't really get too powerful because they don't have all the information, which is why they're supposed to share it now. Because they don't have all the intel and the info. At least they're not supposed to. So I think what has to be done when it comes to this sort of thing, and again, yes, the CIA, NSA, TSA too, NSA, they do have all these alphabets, these alphabet letter departments. It's just ridiculous. But when it comes to the CIA and NSA, doing their jobs. Their jobs are supposed to be keeping the American people safe and protecting the Constitution, not trampling the Constitution and spying on American people. Now, both agencies have been guilty of doing that of late. Now, the CIA really is not supposed to be doing anything within the borders of the USA. The CIA is supposed to be a foreign operation overseas. So they shouldn't have domesticated information. Anything that gets to be domesticated, they should pass that off to the NSA. Now, the NSA's job is supposed to be, close border and within our borders. So anything that's going to be coming to our borders or crosses our borders, the NSA should know about. And they should be tracking it. That doesn't mean that they should be tracking you and me. And you're probably thinking, well, isn't that where the FBI comes into play? Well, the FBI has been slapped a few times by tracking people. Now, understand this. The FBI, who's covertly tracked people, they've just gone up into people's driveways and they've put tracking devices on them. No court order, no search warrant. They've just decided, well, we can do this, and that's what they've done. But they've been slapped by numerous judges with that, both on the left and the right, that says, no, you can't do that, not without court permission, court order. And there have been a number of cases that have been tossed because the way they caught the perpetrator, the American citizen perpetrator, is by, without a court order, slapping these tracking devices on these people's vehicles. And where are the vehicles? The vehicles... for some of them, were actually located in the perpetrator's driveway. Not in the street, but in their driveway. Which means that the FBI agent that placed the device had to physically trespass onto private property. Well, it's in a driveway, Rod. They can do... No, the driveway is still private property. The vehicle is still private property. So I think we've already had court cases that have said that the FBI cannot do such a thing, which would then translate and mean that the NSA cannot do such a thing. But we have all these wonderful people, and I'm not denying that most of them really do care about the country. The majority of them care about the country, but you have some of those who don't really care. It's all about the power that they wield in doing what they want to do, not doing what is right, but doing what they want to do. And all they want to do is well, they say they want to keep the country safe, but do you keep your country safe by destroying the very fabric and foundation from which it's built upon? How can you tell somebody that you are protecting the American way of life by destroying the American way of life? It's not possible. You can't do it. You become a different country with a different type of government. So what needs to be done with these organizations? They need to be refocused into their proper and original task. We have all, Agent 0010 went down the list of all these wonderful different so-called intelligence agencies here on this program before, and what they all did. And what needs to happen is that they all need to be transformed or transferred back in time to their original intent. No more crossing the boundaries of somebody else's territory. No more having CSA operatives working inside the United States. No more I keep saying TSA, NSA operatives, working in foreign lands like China or someplace. I mean, they need to get their acts together. And anybody who doesn't fully understand the Constitution within these organizations need to be kicked to the curb. Anybody who would suggest that you circumvent the Constitution in order to try to keep the Constitution safe does not deserve to be in any of these organizations. This is how you clean the swamp. You clean the swamp by making sure that every department does its core duty and does not step on somebody else's toes. If you have a couple of departments that cross over on each other's territory, well, that means that one of those departments is obsolete and is not needed. You can't have two chiefs. You just can't. It doesn't work. It becomes a mess. It becomes a nightmare. When you got one, when they start, well, let's get into the regulatory process. You've got two different. Well, let's say you got the Interior Department and you've got the EPA, and all of a sudden their paths or their jurisdictions cross, and the EPA issues one set of regulations, and the Interior Department issues another set of regulations, and if somebody follows one set of regulations, then they are in violation of the other department's reg. And that has happened before. And people will say, well, I've done everything I was asked to do. Well, no, you didn't. Well, I followed the EPA guidelines. Well, you didn't follow our guidelines. Well, I didn't know I had to follow your guidelines, but your guidelines are in contradiction with the EPA. It doesn't matter. You're still going to follow ours. But then I would have ran afoul of the EPA. Well, that would have been your problem. This is what we're getting. So if you've got two departments that or organizations, departments, bureaus, what have you, that are overlapping, one of them has to go. Now, if the NSA and CIA are constantly overlapping one another, then one of them has to go. But then one of them the survivor is going to have all the power because they'll have both the inside and outside country information. And that's not something that we want. And folks, this is why these groups were set. This is why these bureaucracies were set up the way they were set up. Believe it or not, now and to a certain degree, George W. Bush, he circumvented the you could call it the power, the separation of powers. And to a certain degree, George W. Bush circumvented the separation of powers when he put so many of these organizations under one brand new department called Homeland Security. Huge mistake. Homeland Security, just by the simple name of it, is worrisome. Homeland, well, only dictatorial regimes call the home country the homeland. What needs to is the Homeland Security needs the Department of Homeland Security needs to be dismantled, and various organizations need to go back to where they were originally. Still keeping in place this notion of cooperation and communication. Everybody in government should be able to communicate with everybody else in government. There should be no walls. Now, I don't know. To some people, is that a radical thought to actually believe you need to dismantle Department of Homeland Security? To a lot of people, that would be. It needs to be dismantled. These organizations like the FBI and CIA and other and things like that, and the TSA, they need to be taken out of the hands of a single entity. Well, not the FBI. The FBI is still in the Justice Department, but you understand what I'm saying. There's a reason for it. And they need to, well, there's a reason that, like the Secret Service. What does the Secret Service do besides protect our dignitaries? Well, they deal a lot with our currency and trying to keep our currency safe. Well, who needs to do that? Well, the Treasury Department. It makes sense for them to be a part of the Treasury then, does it not? Yes. The FBI, they're basically the nation's top cops. Well, where do the cops need to be? They need to be a part of the Department of Justice. Just as if you're down in a city or municipality, what do you have? You have the prosecution working with the police department. The police department is basically the prosecution department's investigatory team and agency. That's how this works. That makes sense. Now, you could say putting the TSA in the hands of Homeland Security is a good thing, but really? Because what are they really keeping safe? Homeland Security. Anything? No, we've noticed TSA has failed an awful lot, but we haven't seen any of their successes of late. And they keep, I got it here, they keep piling on. More and more security is what they say, and we're allowing this. No, this stuff has got to stop. TSA needs to go. It needs to go. Obviously, there are ways to keep people in flight safe, but it isn't via the TSA. I have absolutely no confidence in the TSA whatsoever. None. In fact, when I go to the airport and I'm flying, I'm constantly scanning. I don't even know half of what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for anything, not that I'm paranoid, but simply because I know that going through that checkpoint of the TSA, there has been so much stuff that has gotten through TSA checkpoints. There have been so many people that have gotten through TSA checkpoints that should not have gotten through. And yet they want to focus on someone like me, or worse, they want to focus on a 10-year-old child. Does not instill confidence. So agencies and departments that have very little confidence of the American people's confidence, then they need to go. No questions asked. Start all over. Come up with something different or better. Go back to the original intent. Sometimes the answer is complete dismantling of a department, and sometimes it's just returning it to its original intent. When it comes to our intelligence agencies, most of them, the way to fix them, the way to drain the swamp, is to return them to their original intent. In other cases like the TSA, the only way to fix them is to completely dismantle them. I wonder how many so-called national leaders would be willing to do any of that.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
(603-835-3226). Welcome back. Even though it's just a welcome back for a brief period of time here, because, well, we got to go to another break pretty soon. Any case, when we get back, we're going to jump into this whole notion with John McCain. Oh, my goodness, you won't believe what this whole thing with McCain is about. It just, well, I'll save it. I saw this and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Well, it has to do with McCain and McConnell. How old is McConnell? Does anybody know? McCain might as well be 100 years old. I mean, seriously, he might as well be. He's been in the Senate for so long. He's like a Ted Kennedy. Remember Ted Kennedy? How many years Ted Kennedy was there? And the only reason we got rid of Ted Kennedy is because his evidently his boozing lifestyle caught up with him in the last days of his life. He didn't go out in a natural way. Yeah, and I'll admit it was kind of sad actually. Not that he was leaving the Senate, but how he was leaving the Senate. I wanted Ted Kennedy to leave the Senate by being defeated in an election, just as I want John McCain to leave the Senate by being defeated. Or he just retires, not because of health, but just because he just realizes it's time for him to go. But I'd rather see him soundly and resoundingly defeated. But it really is time for him to go. In any case, McCain is now one of the senior geriatrics in the Senate, and he's not the only one. There's a bunch of others that need to go too. I'll tell you why when we get
back. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And welcome back, hour number 2 here on this Monday, July number 17 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number is 603-835-3226. Glad that you are here. Today's holidays, the holidays of today, of July 17. Today's holidays are thus. It is Global Hug Your Kid Day. Yeah, I guess you really shouldn't hug your kid any other time, but or maybe you should, but today especially. Global Hug Your Kid Day. So if your kid is nearby, if your child is near you, no matter how old or young they are, hug them, because it's Global Hug Your Kid Day. It'll make you feel better. I can get into that holiday. I like that holiday. Today is National Tattoo Day. If you have tattoos, which I do not, today is a day of celebration. I wonder if people are giving special discounts for getting new tattoos today. They probably are. Today is also National Peach Ice Cream Day. I'm not a big fan of peach ice cream. It's okay. But if you love peach ice cream, today's your day then. It's National Peach Ice Cream Day. And from what I understand, there are a number of places that have peach-flavored. Now, peach-flavored ice cream is not the same as peach ice cream. Have you noticed that now General Mills is, speaking of flavors, General Mills is now advertising for its cereals that all its flavors are real. Real cocoa, chocolate, real peanut butter, real honey, versus I guess what it used to be is probably imitation crap, and people are sick and tired of the imitation crap. They want real stuff. How strange is that? If that has to be your marketing tagline. We use real blueberries in our blueberry muffins. It shouldn't not. Well, some of those instant muffin package. If you look, it says imitation blueberries. What the hell is an imitation blueberry? Then it's not blueberry muffins. There are these little imitation blueberry specks. I don't know what they are. And if you ever use real blueberries in blueberry muffins and you eat the imitation blueberry speck stuff, it's got a weird taste to it. It's not the same thing as the real thing. So, but yeah, so, you know, there's... It's the same thing with imitation peach ice cream. There's peach flavored ice cream, and then there's peach ice cream. And no, they don't taste the same. They don't. But anyway, today is National Peach Ice Cream Day. It is also World Day for International Justice. Now, that's kind of a stupid thing. World Day for International Justice versus, I don't know, World Day for National Justice, I guess. I don't know. Today is also Yellow Pig Day. Yeah, I have no idea what that's about. Didn't even bother to look it up. Sorry, folks, didn't. Yellow Pig Day is today. Today is also World Emoji Day. Didn't we have a movie, the Emoji Movie? Didn't that open up this weekend? I think it was this weekend, or maybe it's the weekend coming up. I don't know. World Emoji Day for emojis. And today is also National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. Yes, it's National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. It's observed on the third Monday in July. Generally, when you are in the doghouse, you have fallen out of favor with someone, usually your spouse or significant other. However, you can also be in the doghouse with a friend or your boss at work. National Get Out of the Doghouse Day is an opportunity to use all those good cliches and get you back in the big house where you belong. Here are some tips to get you out of the doghouse on National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. Put down the tech. If this is on your naughty list, don't use email, texting, or other technology to apologize. A face-to-face or handwritten apology is best. Meet at a favorite coffee house. The purpose here is to start talking. Listen to what the other person has to say and do not be judgmental or defensive. Find out what you are in the doghouse for and give suggestions on how you can improve or fix the issue so you can get out of the doghouse. Send flowers, chocolates, or an appropriate gift. Make sure that they're real flowers, it's real chocolate, or a real gift. Include a handwritten note about how you are committed to fixing the issue that got you into the doghouse. Do this after you have already spoken. After you have already spoken, you will win extra brownie points, as this will be unexpected. Including brownies will garner additional points. Yes, but if you do use brownies, real brownies, edible brownies, then make sure that it is made with real fudge or real cocoa and not artificial stuff. By the way, Heidi Richards Mooney of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, founded National Get Out of the Doghouse Day back in 1999. It started by the very kind of person who puts people in the doghouse in the first place. Women. A woman. Yes. Go figure. That'll probably get me saying that'll probably get me put in the doghouse. But in any case, finally, today is also Wrong Way Corrigan Day. Yes, anybody remember this guy? Douglas Corrigan, the last of the early glory-seeking flyers, takes off from Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn, New York, on a flight that would finally win him a place in aviation history. Histoire, as it were. Yes. Let's see. Charles Lindbergh, obviously, was one of the people that is aviation history is known for. He became an international celebrity with his solo flight across the Atlantic. Corrigan was among the mechanics who had worked on Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis aircraft. But that mere footnote in history of flight was not enough for the Texas-born aviator. In 1938, he bought a 1929 Curtiss Robin aircraft off a trash heap, rebuilt it, and modified it for long-distance flight. Now, in July of 1938, Corrigan piloted the single-engine plane nonstop from California to New York. Although the transcontinental flight was far from unprecedented, Corrigan received national attention simply because the press was amazed that his rat trap aircraft had survived the journey. If you've seen pictures of it, it was pretty. You're wondering, what? Almost immediately after arriving in New York, he filed plans for a transatlantic flight, but aviation authorities deemed it a suicide flight, and he was promptly denied. Instead, they would allow Corrigan to fly back to the West Coast, and on July 17th, he took off from Floyd Bennett Field, ostensibly pointed west. However, a few minutes later, he made a 180-degree turn and vanished into the cloud bank to the puzzlement of a few onlookers. 28 hours later, Corrigan landed his plane in Dublin, Ireland. He stepped off his plane and exclaimed, "Just got in from New York. Where am I?" He claimed that he lost his direction in the clouds and that his compass had malfunctioned. The authorities didn't buy the story and suspended his license, but Corrigan stuck to it to the amusement of the public on both sides of the Atlantic. By the time Wrong Way Corrigan and his crated plane returned to New York by ship, his license suspension had been lifted. He was a national celebrity, and a mob of autograph seekers met him on the gangway. Excuse me. So it's National Wrong Way Corrigan Day. There you go. Yeah. Anybody? Well, they didn't. They used compasses back in the day. A lot. And it wasn't. Believe it or not, it was not unusual for people to lose their bearing or lose their way. It happened a lot back in the day. You know, we did World War II. It happened. You had, some Amelia Earhart supposedly had this losing her way happened. So it happened a lot back in the day. So, well, did he really lose his way? How do you make a 180-degree turn? You know where you're going, and you're going from, coast to coast. There should be land underneath you the entire way, should there not? And every time you look down, all you see is water. Maybe that's why they didn't buy his story. In any case, National Wrong Way Corrigan Day is today. So if anybody, it's also Get Out of the Doghouse Day. So if you have a problem that has a directional portion to it, well, how can you get out of the doghouse? Simply by saying you didn't know where you were going. That should work. That should get you out of the doghouse in that one. You went the wrong way. You got lost. Your compass broke. There was clouds in the ground. You're driving, clouds in the ground. You couldn't see the roadway or the signs. Forget the fact that we have GPS today. Just say your phone was dead. Yeah, that's how you get out of the doghouse today. I'm sorry, my phone was dead. You didn't recharge your phone or something. That'll do it. But don't. If you're married, don't try it and you're a guy, don't try it with your wife. If you're married and you're a guy and you have a husband instead, that'll probably work. If you're married and you're a woman and you have a wife, that won't work. So this won't work in a woman. If you tell a woman that your phone died, that probably won't work. If you tell a guy your phone died, they'll probably be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, here, you need a cord, need to charge it. I got a charger. Got to make sure your phone's charged, dude, at all times, dude. You can't let your phone see this happens when you let your phone die, dude." But if you're a woman, they'll look at you up and down, and say, "Yeah, right. You never let your phone die." And now it died. Honey, your phone better be dead because you dropped it in a fountain or a lake, or in a glass of water at lunch with your work partner. But don't you dare tell me that your phone is dead, because I'm going to kill you. Because I know your phone ain't dead. And by the way, they can get away with that stuff too. I watch, CSI. And women can be cunning. Don't doubt me. Don't. They're not going to buy the dead phone thing. Your guy buddy will. Your female buddy will not. Just saying.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
This health care bill that everybody was, I heard a little bit about it over the weekend, and some people are excited about it. Oh yeah, we got something that we can vote on. McConnell's a little excited about. This is just ridiculous, folks. It is absolutely insane, inane, and ridiculous. And now it is even. Now we're delaying. Well, he needs all the Republican votes because he's not going to get a single Democrat. McConnell is not going to get a single Democrat. This should tell you something. And you fools keep electing a few Democrats, to put in the Senate. I mean, this is insanity. We have the government we deserve. But McConnell is going to delay the vote because McCain is going to undergo some sort of surgical procedure. Yes, no CBO health score today as McConnell delays vote for McCain. Yes, because I have to be there. I want to make the vote. I want to be the one that puts it over the edge. That's right, because I'm an edgy guy. Even at my advanced age, I'm very edgy. And I want to put it over the edge. The Congressional Budget Office won't release a score on the revised Republican health care bill on Monday, as many had expected, as consideration of the controversial measure is delayed by a medical scare for one of its potential Senate backers. That's right, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said late Saturday that he's postponing plans to begin debate in the next few days after Republican Senator John McCain said he'll be home in Arizona recovering from unexpected surgery. Now, while John is recovering, the Senate will continue to work on legislative items and nominations and will defer consideration of the Better Care Act. They're calling it the Better Care Act? Really? They're seriously going to do that. That is what it's... You know what Better Care is? Better Care Act would just simply repeal Obamacare and get the government out of it. That would be better care. This is not better care. This is Republican care. And Republican care is really not all that much better than Democrat care. Quite frankly. It's really not. And to delay this vote simply because John McCain is evidently having I guess that he's having eye surgery. I don't know. Some sort of unexpected surgical procedure. If you're 79, 80, 81, 80, how much of things that happen to you is unexpected? And notice how all these wonderful representatives of ours, they always live to have such an advanced age. They don't seem to suffer the terrible foibles that the rest of us suffer. Well, because they have better health care. I'm not joking on that, folks. They really do. See, the extent of what health care can do for you can extend your life beyond your reasonably useful years in the Senate. It is... This is true. I mean, some people are thinking, Rod's going to step in it now. Now, let me be frank here. They have a Cadillac system. Once you get into the Cadillac system of healthcare, you've pretty much got it made. And even if you like to fool around with your own, health, because the healthcare is so well established and is so well regarded if you're a senator or House of Representatives congressman, that you can pretty much reverse, medically speaking, almost anything that you do to yourself. Now, obviously, they haven't gotten to the point where they can help these people live forever, but they can extend their life. Look how many of these senators. I mean, it doesn't matter. Senators and congressmen, they've lived into their 80s, 90s, and approached 100. On a regular basis. How many of these people do we have in the Senate now? Well, it's also due to, wealthy people also live longer than poor people. So that is also a factor. When you get into Congress, if you leave Congress at all, the Senate or the House, and you're there, well, if you're there your entire term, it could be difficult for somebody in the House if they're only there for one term, only 2 years. But if you've been there for at least 4 years, 4 to 6 years, or more, and you're not wealthy, a lot wealthier than when you leave, then you did something wrong, according to them. If you're actually not wealthier when you leave than when you came, then you're actually doing something right, most likely. But according to them, you'd be a fool if you didn't leave wealthier. Doesn't matter what your wealth is. Isn't this what they're trying to pull on Trump? Trump is using the presidency to make himself richer. Really? So his value, whatever it is, 5 to 10, depending, $7 to $10 billion, doesn't matter. He's doing it so he can make himself even more rich. Really? They go for everybody? Why is it only the Donald that is being accused of this, and not everybody else who absolutely got a lot richer, like Barack Obama. I mean, so if you don't, well, this is if you don't do it right, folks, then I guess you don't deserve to be in D.C. Call Rod now, 606-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
When you used to do stuff like that when you were a kid, playing an instrument with your mouth. It goes along with the air guitar fad of the there was actually competition for air guitar. You know that? I don't. Yeah, I'm an air guitar musician. Yeah, that's something to be really proud of. World's best air guitarist. Okay. Anyway, 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. I know some people are... If you're an 80s child, we did some weird things in the 80s. We did. Anybody... Well... The clothing... We had a mishmash of clothing styles in the 80s. It was... well, there was the punk. Remember the punk style? With the hair and the makeup. Well, that's where we got our our goth and emo movement actually came out of the punk movement of the late 70s and 80s, throughout the 80s. And it's a British thing, actually. There are still plenty of British kids out there that do the punk thing, punk style. By the way, something that you thought was out of fashion is back. And remember the ripped jeans? Now, I know, but ripped jeans are back in style they are. They haven't been out of style for very long. Now, the funny thing about ripped jeans is that I remember walking in the malls, and the younger people's stores not PacSun, but there was one of them. Abercrombie and Abercrombie and Fitch. They would have these, and other places would have these ripped jeans, pre-ripped jeans in the window. The store. And I remember seeing a pair for $110, and I'm thinking, and this was back in 2005 or something. I what? $100 for a pair of ripped? I can go home. I could go over and get a pair of Levi's for $30 and rip my own jeans if I want this stuff. Who does this? In any case, I have noticed that ripped jeans are back in style. And in order for ripped jeans to work, I guess they have to be like the skinny jeans. They have to be tight. And skinny jeans are back. Has anybody noticed that too? The skinny jeans are back. I don't understand. I just go with the classic stuff. I like to be classic, and James Bond style is never going to go out of style. But I just don't get these other fashion things. I know I lived in an era, and I grew up in an era where high fashion was 80s high fashion was we can look back on it today and think it was kind of weird, a lot of it, and a lot of it was. So I guess it's no different. If kids want to have ripped jeans today, it's no different from our punk styles and our pop culture styles of the 80s. The 80s was, look at all the musical acts of the 80s. It didn't matter what they're punk bands or hard rock bands. The hard rock bands, they weren't even called hard rock back then. They were called hair bands. Why? Because their hairstyles. Bon Jovi was a hair band. Remember that? I remember certain things came along in the 80s, like late 70s, early 80s. Jordache jeans. I refused. You want to know why I refused to wear designer? They were called designer jeans back then. You know why I refused to wear? Because back then, and you could say I was homophobic if you want. Doesn't matter. Because back then, when my mother asked, back to school shopping, you want some Jordache jeans or some of these designers? I looked and said, Mom, those are gay. Really, I did. I did not own a pair of Jordache jeans or any of those, whatever the designer of the day was. I didn't own any of those. I stuck with Levi's and Lee's. So that's what but I did wear the skinny ties. The real skinny ties. It was also T-shirts back then were starting to become a big thing, graphic T-shirts. But the big thing with graphic T-shirts back then was Asian lettering or Asian words on your T-shirt. You had no idea what it was saying, but you liked the look of it. And I had a number of T-shirts, Asian. I had a tie with Asian lettering on it. Didn't have a clue what it said. But it was graphic enough and lovely enough to wear. Although I did have my hairstyle was a little bit different though back then. Anybody remember Jimi Hendrix? Yeah, I sported the Jimi Hendrix look in the hair. I did. Just saying. Because and the if I went roller skating, the bandana, the Jimi Hendrix bandana. Yeah, we did that too. It was good times. But we still dressed a little bit classy. It wasn't ripped jeans and it wasn't, I don't know what the hell they're wearing today. You could say the 80s was a backlash of the terrible 70s. The terrible 70s. In 60s, the fashion sense of this, the 60s was kind of split. There was some good fashion in the 60s, some terrible fashion in the 60s. 70s I don't think there was any good fashion. You had the everyday stuff that everybody wore, which was just dull, basic garbage. And then when they thought that they were dressing up, the polyester leisure suit, yeah. So I think the 80s was a backlash of the 70s, but and the padded shoulders. Anybody remember the padded shoulders? Now I never had any. Well, I did have some suits that had the padded shoulders in the suits, but suit jackets. But I didn't have any clothing that had padded shoulders. Although I dated some girls that did. They had padded shoulders. Looking at some of the movies made back then, this is some of the dumbest fashion they could ever come up with. But it looked good back then. Yeah, the hats were in. I had a fedora. I still got one now. I wear it every once in a while. Yeah, I liked hats. Not just baseball hats, but real hats. Hats were in. But anyway, back to McCain. Going down memory lane here is just, no, we don't want to do that. I bring back the 80s. Most of it. The music for sure. It was awesome. The politics? Oh, absolutely. Bring back the politics of the 80s in a heartbeat. The fashion? Some of it, yeah, I'd bring back. But the 80s is a good place, the 80s in this country, and indeed around the world, was... It was a little bit harrowing because we still had the Cold War. We still had the Soviet Union. We still had Red China, which is still acting and being Red China and trying to emerge out of the Dark Ages. So it was a little harrowing. And there was a clear, everybody knew who the enemy of freedom was in the 80s. Including the Democrats, even if the Democrats cozied up to to Gorbachev and the Soviet Union and to Castro over in Cuba. They cozied up to him. They didn't like Reagan either. Remember, Democrats didn't like Reagan. This whole notion of Democrats not liking Trump is no different from Democrats not liking Reagan, other than today they're a little bit. They're not more vocal. They're just more animated. And because technology is different, it makes it seem like they're more vocal, but they're not. And we still had our Republican people in the on the Republican side that didn't like Reagan, just as we have Republicans today that don't like Trump. So in a way, ripped jeans were in the 80s, but there have been some 80s styles that have tried to make a comeback. There have been a few of them. And we can see some 80s influence in some of the clothing today. So in a way, we have the politics of we have a little bit of a repeat of the 80s in the politics. And as far as who the president is an outsider. Nobody liked Reagan either inside the party. And nobody likes Trump. So there are some similarities of now and of the 80s. Now understand, if you're looking for a complete transfer of the 80s into the 20 teens here, you're messed up. You can't repeat time. Sorry, you're not gonna have a Trump May, which is the equivalent of a Reagan Thatcher. You're not gonna have it. For whatever reason, May is over in England is straddling the political parties over there. She won't commit. I don't know. Maybe there's considering what happened with in Paris, maybe there's going to be a transformation in Macron. Emmanuel Macron. He seemed to love Trump. Anybody notice that? Let's be honest here. He did. It's one of the weirdest political turnarounds I've ever seen in my entire life. And here, Macron is elected to be this ultra-liberal globalist type of person. And the first time that he's going to be in the same room with Trump, basically, he won, NATO? He wanted nothing to do with Trump. He tried to be as far away from Trump as he possibly could in every possible picture. Then the G20 comes around, and he's clamoring to get next to Trump. And before G20's over, next thing we know, he's being invited to come to Paris for an official state invite. And then it was just like, buddy. I have no idea what transpired. I can't even begin to speculate what transpired from the NATO meeting to the G20 to have such a reversal of love versus hate. This is one of the most baffling. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people that think that they know what the hell is going on and what Macron is doing. I'm telling you right now, I don't think they know. Because I analyze this stuff too. And I'm thinking that, you guys something's not right here. Something is not adding up. I have no idea what Macron is. Well, I can tell you this. Now, the young man, as he is, what is he? His wife is like 20 or 30 years older than he is. She's in her 60s. She's like 60 something. And I know there was this whole brouhaha about Trump saying, "Well, you're in good shape." She's in good shape, man. She's beautiful. Look at her. We know what he was. She's 64 years old. And Emmanuel is like 44 or something. He's like 44, 45. Well, they got something in common then, don't they? Except it's reverse. Because Melania's like 40, 48. And Trump is 70, 71. So it's a reversal. But there's a similarity there, is there not? Any differences in the ages do they have children? The Macrons don't have children, I don't think. She may have, but not by Emmanuel. Actually, I didn't look into that. But I just thought of it. I'm not sure. But in any case, there's a similarity there, is there not? Is that what turned on Emmanuel to open his arms to Trump? The family values were similar, basically? Or is there something else? Are there political values that are actually more similar than dissimilar? Was Trump able to tell, Emmanuel, hey, Emmanuel, man, without the USA, France would be speaking German right now. No doubt. There is no question about it. Absolutely zero question on that one. If the United States didn't step in with its blood and guts and decide to defeat the Axis instead of just holding them at bay, setting a Maginot line, if you will, France would have been gone. The Brits were saying, well, there's no way we can beat Germany. The only thing we can do is keep Germany from taking over England. They weren't going to be able to boot the Germans out of France. So, I don't know, maybe Trump was over there saying, hey, Emmanuel, man, without us, you'd be speaking German. Literally. There wouldn't be a France as we know it today. Seriously. Maybe that's what he said. And maybe Emmanuel knew it. But I just thought it was a rather interesting turn of events. And it's amazing how everybody in this country, at least on the left, is like, oh, he's such a cad. He said she was in good shape. He gave a woman a genuine compliment that she seemed to absolutely adore and love. I don't know about you, but if you're 60, I don't care if you're male or female, if you're 64 years old and somebody says you're in fantastic shape, you're in great shape, you look beautiful, are you going to take offense to that? Oh, hell no.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. There's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
All right, y'all in the Spreaker chat room got to stop going down fashion memory lane. yes, the cuffed shirts and jacket pulling up the sleeves, yeah, the hats and the piano ties, the penny loafers showing off the Argyle socks and oh yeah, and also the pants. The pants with the colored piping. Remember those? The single and double piping down the outside of each of the legs was something interesting. Those are the but hey, I went in for all that other fashion stuff, but I still wouldn't wear a pair of Jordache jeans. Call me a weird guy. I was a weird kid, I suppose. I don't know. But still wouldn't have a pair of designer jeans. I was, don't want nobody's, name on, I was, Run DMC, lyrics, don't want nobody's name on my behind. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is fashion of the 80s. Well, some of it could come back. It would be a good thing. We did start. Well, there was a point in this century, this new century, where remember the waistlines were getting so low. It's ridiculous. Well, I'm glad to report that in a lot of places the waistline has risen up a little bit. It's not back to where it was, say, in the 50s. Remember in the 50s where you couldn't even see your belly button actually because the waist was so high. That's your true waist is what they were measuring. But so we're nowhere near that. But we're not down where their waist is cut so low it's showing butt crack off even though the pants are fully up. And a lot of the boys even in the inner city have stopped wearing the saggy pants and the underwear thing. That fade is passing, thankfully, finally. So we're getting some of the 80s style coming back, and maybe we're getting some of the 80s style politics coming back. Not a bad thing. It would be a good thing. When we get back, we'll get more into the Trump Paris trip and what's going on with the health care bill in McConnell and McCain. Don't go anywhere.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for a beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you got to get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me. My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better, at nih.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here on this program. 603-835-3226 is the number to call. That is the number to utilize should you wish to join me here live on the program. Excuse me. Now, one of the things here, well, I guess I know I should get into the rest of this stuff with the Trumpster and Paris, but that's kind of old news anyway, and the rest of this McConnell stuff. But first, I want to, before I run out of time, I want to really dive into some of this other stuff too. Here in the paper. By the way, did you guys hear and see where there is? Now, I've talked about this up and coming facial recognition stuff being used everywhere. Well, we got some new stuff coming up. Facial recognition police body cameras. Well, you knew that was only a matter of time if they're going to start putting facial recognition software and cameras and video in other places. But now it's going to be. Are we going to have cyborg cops? Are they going to? Well, I mean, are they going to have the Google Glass type of eyewear, and as the cops they'll put cops back on the beat walking, right? And so they'll have the facial recognition body camera that'll project onto their Google Glass-like screen on their face. And will they be able to make more arrests that way? Find more for I don't know. It's a brave new world. I keep telling you people this. But basically, even if you get pulled over, even if the cop doesn't recognize you, the body camera on his chest will recognize you because of facial recognition. So, all these times where cops let somebody go and they had them in their grasp and they didn't know who they were looking at. Well, these facial recognition stuff is going to know. Interesting to think about. I don't know. And if you also heard about the Russian military exercise, that'll put an additional 100,000 troops on the NATO border. Well, that's because Trump has decided to put the missile defense back in Poland that obviously Putin didn't like. So yeah, but Putin was definitely, he's got Trump wrapped around his finger, right? With all the collusion. Anyway, we have a call here. Let's go to the phone lines. 817. You're live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got this morning?
Top of the morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning.
All right. So go ahead and I find that very interesting when you brought up the facial recognition body cams that the cops are going to be wearing. I just got done watching that Circle movie last night, The Circle with Tom Hanks. And, watching that movie, you could tell it was a real leftist movie. And I was just like, oh, my goodness. They basically made it, acceptable for technology tracking people. And it scares the crap out of me how it's going to be in the next 20 to 50 years. They're going to get to where it's just, like idiocracy. They scan you and then boom, they know who you are and they know where you live. They know where you're going to go. I mean, and everybody, there's going to be so many people that are going to be accepting of it that they're going to work with it. And I don't know. I mean, I feel really bad for the Generation Z.
Well, Minority Report with Tom Cruise. It is getting to the point where we do have some laws now that you don't actually have to commit the law. You just have to talk about it, and you can get in trouble and go to jail for just talking about it. Yeah, well, you could talk about. I'm not going to get into it because who knows? I'll probably have dark sunglass people knocking on my door. But you could say, I'm just going to build this little device and toss it into the lake over there or something, and blow up the fish. And just talking about that kind of thing can now get you into trouble. Even if you really don't have any intention of it, just talking about it now can get you into trouble, and that's basically what Minority Report is all about. And again, if you're wearing all this facial and body recognition stuff, what they're going to say is it's going to lead to less and less of there being misidentifying people. Because how many times have we been told? Yeah, how many times have we been told? Well, you got the wrong person. You got the wrong mans. I'm not the right mans. You got and the cops think that they have the right person, and it turns out that they don't. So they'll use all of those types of things to say we're improving our policing, we're improving our ability to catch the bad guy. But what most of us, like you said, will accept is we won't realize that we're going to be losing our freedom left and right for all this to happen.
Yeah, invasion of our privacy. That's exactly what it is. You got Palantir. You ever heard of Palantir? What they do, they work for the government. The Silicon Valley people. What they do is they itemize everything that you buy with your transactions, with your debit card and credit card transactions. And whatever your search results are and all that, they sell your data to all kinds of business companies. That's why you get all this spamming stuff. If you notice, you get on Google and you check up pit bulls for sale, and then out of nowhere every time you're like searching for something else or you're looking for music, and then you got these ads popping up on your phone, you know, pit bulls for sale, blah, blah, blah. And you start to be like, oh, that's weird. I wonder how they, you can thank Palantir for that. And basically what they do, give you a quick sum up, is let's just say you buy nothing but camping gear and you're a Second Amendment enthusiast and you buy ammunition and all that. They itemize you into a category of a threat. Like, he must be some crazy, you know, prepper, or, you know, they put you in a category that you don't even deserve to be in.
Yeah, this is all due to, they say it's for marketing, but it's not marketing. Obviously, government gets to look at this data as well. And as far as, look, you'd be surprised how many regular people out there that never really know it, but they're being tailed. We've had brought the story before about the FBI being slapped a number of times by illegally tapping, you know, putting tracking devices on people's cars without a court order, and the court saying no, you can't do that. But how many times? How often do they still do it? And it's not just the FBI that's doing this. It's so easy to track people today. You just go in, the whole notion, the James Bond thing, where you go up to a car and you shoot a little tracking device on it, and nobody knows it's there. That stuff is real. It's not very big. It's very easy. It doesn't come off once they attach it, unless they take it off, and they know where you are at all times. And it's getting to the point now where people are even, you know, James Bond again, if you want to call it James Bond stuff. But you know, all that stuff that we see in the movies, it's not all fiction. There's a lot of real stuff there. Now, I don't mean to make people to have people think that I'm paranoid, but the reality is a lot of that stuff is real. You can easily be tagged. You could be walking in the airport, and frankly, the next time somebody bumps into you fairly hard, I would stop and do a self-frisk. Because either they took your wallet or they put something on you. I'm not joking. This stuff is happening today.
No, and you're not paranoid. You're not paranoid at all, you know. Last thing before I get off, you know, if you've noticed, you know, everything costs. Anything and everything that's good quality or decent quality, it costs money. And when you get on Google or Apple or your Windows phone and you download these apps, they're all free apps, and everybody's like, "This is awesome, free games, free this." There's a reason why they're free. When you hit that accept, when they bring out this guide of this contract, and you push accept without even reading through it, a lot of that little fine print that nobody reads through talks about how they can get inside your phone. They can look at all your photos and your get your GPS location and might even hack into your account and see what your search history looks like and what you're interested in and what you like to do. So a little bit of FYI for anybody that doesn't read the fine print before you hit accept on all those free apps.
You know, he's absolutely right, folks. I mean, if you look at some of the apps, and you would think, well, why does this app want to have my contact list and have access to my photos and my camera? That this is an app that shouldn't need that kind of stuff. But in order to utilize that app, you have to agree to this. And it's and a lot of times I'll catch that stuff and I'll say, well, I don't need this app that bad. This app needs it. All I want to do is have an app that helps me read something, and it wants to have access to my email and contact and phone list. Why? It's only there to help me read something. I don't need to tell people that I'm reading. So I'll pass it by. But then you know, but they've all gotten pretty scary with this stuff. If you want to just use your damn Google phone, you know, everything's loaded with Google. If the next phone I get might be an iPhone, simply because Google has just become so invasive. It has. I'm sorry. These Google phones have become extreme. You know, the Galaxy S8, it is probably the most invasive phone ever to come to market. And I'm warning folks about it. I'm not getting a Galaxy S8. It looks really cool. But, folks, I'm telling you right now, it has got to be the most invasive, privacy-invasive phone ever delivered upon mankind. And it is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Millions of people are going to own this thing, not me. Just saying. I don't know. You going to buy one of those? I'm not going to buy one of those.
All right, man.
Anyway, good talking to you, my friend. I hope you have a great day and
Appreciate
stay away
it.
from those Google stuff.
All right. You take it easy, brother.
I don't get what all that stuff is necessary for, you know. If all you're doing is you got to have your gadgets if they have a specific reason for something, I can understand it. You know, Instagram, they want access to your camera and your photos, obviously. But they don't need access to everything else on my phone. Skype may need to have, access to your contacts. Makes sense. But Skype doesn't need to have access to everything else on my phone. It's a brave. I don't know how many times I got to say this, folks. It's a brave new world. Are you ready for it?
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
603-835-3226. So we have these wonderful devices that they're thinking about. Look, this whole thing, if they're thinking about it, they're actually going to do it. Now they just have to figure out how they're going to come up with the money and how they're going to spin it to the public to make it sound like a safety issue. It's going to hamper your ability to defend yourself too. Believe it or not, it really is. And I know some people are saying, well, if you actually did the crime, Rod, then you should be forced to do the time or the penalty, man. I mean, that's the way it works, right? You know, justice is blind. But how many is it? There was a story here about Minnesota. Something in Minnesota happened. Where is that story? Police officers shoot Australian woman to death in Minnesota. Body cameras were off. You see, body cameras only work when they're on. And if the cop himself has the ability to control it, I'm just saying that, you know, they shouldn't have the ability to turn those things on and off themselves. If you're going to have them, they shouldn't have the ability to turn them on and off themselves, because they had body cams in Minnesota. They shoot a woman to death. Don't have all the details, but their body cameras were not on. She could have been a very bad Aussie woman. They have bad people in Australia. Not denying that. But to have devices that are supposed to be able to help you identify people and help other people see what actually is happening and going on, and to have those devices off, highly suspicious in my book. Highly suspicious. But, you know, you're not going to be able to convince people of any malfeasance or anything like that, probably. We have some global warming stuff here. Getting into this global warming stuff before we get into the rest of the McCain-McConnell stuff. Research team slams global warming data in new report, not reality. Totally inconsistent with credible temperature data. Yeah, from Zero Hedge. As world leaders, namely in the European Union, attack President Trump for pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement, which would have saddled Americans with billions upon billions of dollars in debt and economic losses. A new bombshell report that analyzed global average surface temperatures, or the GAST, data produced by NASA and the NOAA and Hadley, Hadley, proves the president was right on target with his refusal to be part of the new initiative. Now, according to this report, which has been peer-reviewed by administrators, scientists, and researchers from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a.k.a. MIT, and several of America's leading universities, the data is completely bunk. In this report, the most important surface data adjustment issues are identified, and past changes in the previously reported historical data are quantified. It was found that each new version of GAST has nearly always exhibited a steeper warming linear trend over its entire history, and it was nearly always accomplished by systematically removing the previously existing cyclical temperature pattern. In other words, as I have said here before on this program about the global warming stuff, they go back and they quote unquote adjust the temperatures. And every time they adjust the temperatures of the past, it gives us a bigger hockey stick. It doesn't jive with the reality that's on the ground. As a matter of fact, these so-called GAST surface temperatures supposedly have the average temperature somewhere around near 80 degrees right now, and we're not near that. The actual temperatures are not proving out to be what the GAST says it is. I've said this all along, and now we've got a research, and we've got a report that points that out, and we've got numerous learned people, some of whom are all in the tank for global warming, who are saying, yeah, this report's accurate. All that GAST data is bunk, garbage. Well, if it's all garbage, then how the hell can they still say global warming's a thing? Especially Al Gore. I mean, this guy continues to make money hand over fist on this global warming crap. It's unbelievable. Well, what's the old saying? Just follow the money. It's the money trail. That's what counts. That'll lead you to where you need to go. That'll give you the truth, right? Just follow the money, and the money is pushing this global warming crap.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not.
It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
You know, in the course of prepping for this program, I run across all kinds of stuff. People send me all kinds of connections and links and as well, and it's good because I get a unique and wide perspective of stuff. But some of the stuff that I come across is just absolutely you'd first think that it's a parody. But then you realize it's not, and it's meant to be real life stuff. Especially if you go into the video realm today. The video is well. There used to blogs used to be it. It used to be the blog realm of satire. And you go read blogs and things like The Onion. It's when The Onion became big. It's when blogs became big. And it was satire stuff. And then that moved into, it skipped the audio and just went directly to video. And of course, places like YouTube are the big suppositories for all things video. And so you actually get over there sometimes and you're scanning through or you happen to look at the suggested videos next on YouTube, and some of them catch your attention because you can't believe that it's real. You believe it's a parody or it's a comedy. And you click on it, and within the first 30 seconds, you realize, no, this is for realsville. This is not parody. This is not comedy. This is not... these jackasses are real in this video. That's the scary stuff. And you can get all kinds... Well... I've been getting this whole thing on YouTube about going back in time. What were the 30s really like? And what were the 50s really like? And what were the 60s and the 70s really like? And as these series of videos that supposedly tells you what it was really like to live in those particular decades. Like, why? But because I do politics, you would think I would be interested in how heavy a vacuum cleaner was in the 1930s? Okay. But that stuff is for real. That stuff is for real. And so are people, speaking of video, so are people like Al Gore. Albert Gore Jr., former vice president under William Jefferson Clinton, has made the dailytelegraph.com.au news cycle, Sydney, Australia. The headline, who's afraid of the big bad climate monster? Well, in Al Gore's latest climactic dose of climate scaremongering, a young Asian man is crying. I feel so scared, the Asian man wails, before a vision of solicitous Uncle Al patting his hand in an attempt to soothe away his fears of the apocalypse. The scaremongering is what Al Gore does best, and fear is the business model that has made him filthy rich. Though his every apocalyptic scenario has to date failed to materialize, in Australia last week to Spruick his upcoming movie in an inconvenient sequel, the former U.S. Vice President tried it on again, claiming Mother Nature was screaming and the world would descend into political disruption and chaos and disease and stronger storms and more destructive floods unless we buy his snake oil. Yes, remember, folks, ISIS is the direct result of global warming. Yes, that's what they tried telling us. ISIS is the direct result of global warming. Anybody believe that garbage? Anyway, the story goes on. Silly Labour premiers bought that snake oil last week, pledging alongside the grinning Al Gore that Victoria, Queensland, the Act in South Australia would embrace renewables to produce zero net emissions by 2050. They haven't learned a lesson from the SA's extreme green experiment with renewable energy that has produced nothing but crippling blackouts and the highest electricity prices in the world. South Australia's extreme green experiment, which left nothing but the highest electricity prices in the world. Any normal person with such a woeful record of accuracy as Gore would be ashamed to show his face. 11 years after his Inconvenient Truth movie scared little kids witless, his warning of climate Armageddon have come to nothing. And yet, do you think he really cares? No, because it isn't about saving the planet. It's about making him and his crony buddies wealthier. That's all it's about. It's about making him rich. Gore says unless we take drastic measures, the world would reach a point of no return within 10 years. He told us back then. Wrong. In fact, the world has just been through almost 20 years in which there has been a hiatus in so-called global warming, even as carbon dioxide has increased. An inconvenient pause, as some would put it. How about an inconvenient lie? Or I should say a convenient lie is what this whole Al Gore mess and nonsense is all about. A convenient lie, too. Well, because, hey, he's got to come back and talk about why his previous predictions didn't come to pass because they did something to save the planet before it was too late. But it was only a temporary reprieve. So don't tell me, as he would put it, that I was wrong because they're on the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side of science. And they're just plain wrong because I said they're wrong. This is just the most ridiculous thing. And people still buy into this stuff. They still buy into Al Gore and his convenient lie crap. It wasn't just Australia that fell into this trap. Spain did it too. All the renewable stuff, and it almost caused the country to go completely and totally bankrupt. And by the way, there is a country that has gone totally green as far as its energy production is concerned, and that would be Iceland. But now they're facing a different dilemma. See, there's nothing on this planet that so far that is completely 100% green all the time. You see, they don't have enough geothermal, even in the land of fire and ice, to power everything, so they use dams. They dam up rivers. And that has caused all kind of havoc in the Icelandic highlands. And you've got environmentalists in Iceland saying, "Oh, wait, we got to stop damming up." They now produce more electricity through hydroelectric dams than is. Well, it's all going to aluminum production. Actually, Iceland is quickly becoming the land of aluminum production. But it's all green though, because it's all hydroelectric dam stuff. They get enough energy, natural energy from geothermal to take care of the citizens and their households and their business offices. But for the factories like, Alcoa plants and stuff, I mean, there are some places and some plants in Iceland where they build a hydroelectric dam and all the electricity goes to the factory. Because, making aluminum takes a lot of energy. It's intense energy consumption. But it's green, so you could say aluminum is the green thing, right? Yes, it's the green metal. If it's being produced in Iceland, it's very green. Everything's so green. The health law taxes are currently dividing the GOP, signaling a shift. Political optics collide with the party's longtime focus on lower rates. Well, what does that got to do with taxes? See, this is where I keep telling you that some of these Republicans are not really into this notion of repealing. Some of them like the taxes that are attached. Republican efforts to pass the health care bill have revealed a party fissure on tax policy with potentially far-reaching repercussions. Simply put, and this is from the Wall Street Journal, simply put, the reason why we can't get a repeal is because you have too many Republicans who think, well, we need something to replace it. We got to, the taxes that are going to be lost, the tax revenue. We got to do something about the tax revenue. So we got to come up with new taxes or different taxes or keep some of these taxes. It's not about doing what's best for you. You got to know that by now. That some of these wonderful GOPers, they're not in it for you. If any of them were in it for you, then they'd be tripping over themselves to get to the voting area to vote Obamacare out and to vote down all these taxes. Instead, they're tripping over themselves and trying to be the one who has got the better alternate Obamacare plan. And we don't have enough true conservatives that are saying that's not the way to go, gentlemen and ladies. The way to go is towards the free market over here. Because, I find it amazing how you have people in government who are looking at Amazon as possibly being a monopoly. Forget the fact that it's nowhere near being a monopoly, but it's just Amazon just getting too big and too powerful. And every time that the government has allowed most other monopolies, the government has come in and broken them up, except when it comes to government. So they want government to have a monopoly, but they don't want anybody else to even come close to having a monopoly. How does that make any sense? Healthcare. They want government to be the monopoly of the healthcare system. Why? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. If monopolies are bad, if any kind of monopoly is bad, aren't all monopolies bad? Well, yeah, they are actually, but you know, because they don't produce what we think they're going to produce. They're not going to produce when you have an open free market and free market system. You get better product and service for lower cost, which gives you a better price. When you have a monopoly that is either allowed by or sponsored by or owned by the government, costs spiral out of control, service is terrible, and the product selection is nil and doesn't get better fast. I don't know, I'm thinking I'm kind of liking the whole idea of breaking up government monopolies and leaving private monopolies alone, since there really aren't any private monopolies, especially in this day and age. You've got the ability to go someplace else. But government says if we're going to have health care, single payer, you're not going to have the ability to go someplace else unless you're very, very wealthy and you can fly to another country.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong. And any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hay right.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
There's a story out of Miami for those of you who are Clinton watchers, Clintonistas, anti or pro-Clintonistas. There's a story out of Miami. The former Haitian government official, Klaus Eberwein, Eberwein, was found dead in Miami late last week in an apparent suicide. It looks like he shot himself in the head. Now, for a lot of people who are Clintonistas, who follow, the body count of the Clintons, that seems to be a favorite formula for those who want to go against the Clintons. It seems to be a favorite scenario, is making it look like a suicide. I don't know if this really was a suicide or not. It's highly speculative since this guy actually was the one who uncovered and was about to expose the full extent of the Clinton Foundation corruption and malpractice in Haiti. Next week has been found dead, and now he's found dead in Miami. So he's about to expose the Clintons in something, at least their foundation, and he's about to tell the whole tale, the whole story. And instead he decides, getting as the time gets closer and closer, I don't want to bring this to light now, so I'm going to kill myself. So he was scheduled to appear next Tuesday before the Haitian Senate Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, where he was widely expected to testify that the Clinton Foundation misappropriated Haiti earthquake donations from international donors. Well, we need proof of that. Many of us suspect that to be true. Now, according to Miami-Dade's medical examiner, records supervisor, the official cause of death is gunshot to the head. Eberwein's death has been registered as suicide. Pretty much like, Seth Rich, his was robbery. Not just murder, but even though nothing was robbed on him, he was still robbery gone wrong, gone bad, what have you. Eberwein, who had acknowledged his life was in danger, was a fierce critic of the Clinton Foundation's activities in the Caribbean island, where he served as Director General of the government's Economic Development Agency. And he did that job for 3 years. So, hey, my life is in danger, my life is in danger, I'm about to expose the Clintons, my life is in danger, so I'm going to kill myself. Does that add up? Does anybody believe that adds up? No, none of that adds up. I would have to agree. But here you have another body in the long line of bodies of the Clintons. And I just find it somebody's keeping track of this, and there's well over 100 deaths related to the Clintons right now. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist to think that most of those or all of those deaths are directly related and attributed to Bill and Hillary Clinton, but I'm going to say that some of them are. Some of them are. And if we can investigate properly, we might find that out. But according to Trump, they're nice people and we don't want to cause them any more pain. Well, I think it's time that we cause the Clintons some pain because people are still dying because of the Clintons. One way or the other, whether it's perceived or reality, there are people that are still suffering at the hands of the Clintons. And this guy obviously thought that his life was in danger so much, and possibly his family, that he felt the only way out was to shoot himself in the head. Or did he really shoot himself in the head, or was he assisted? Did he get some assistance of shooting himself in the head? In which case, it would not be a suicide, then would it? Yeah, it would be murder. Look, I watch all those cop shows on TV, and I see how this stuff is done. Where do you think they get the ideas from? They get the ideas from real criminals, that's where. Make something look like an accident. They'll cut the brake lines or something in their car when they're going around all those wonderful curves in the high mountains, and they go off the cliff because they can't brake. They can't stop the car or slow it down. That's the way it works. They'll put the gun to his head and make him shoot himself. That's the way it works. And The way it works now is that I'm out of time, but I'll be back in 21 hours tomorrow for Tuesday's edition. Hope you have a wonderful beginning of your week on Monday. Until then, thanks for listening. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Oppo file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.